Let's go racing!
On Sparky's wild side. Yeah. Welcome everybody. How y'all doing tonight? As you see, Don Vinny's back again.
Causing trouble as usual.
As usual. So, racing season's opening, brother.
Yeah, new car this year.
Yeah, I heard about that. You were showing me some pictures.
Yep.
Wow.
Big change on that one, isn't it?
Oh my God, something I would have never expected.
Well, you know, as I was going over with you earlier, the stats have changed on these cars a little bit, and they found out in that first little pre-race deal just what they're up against. And in these new cars, if you noticed, Danica Patrick has the pole for this week's
Yeah, I saw that.
Daytona 500.
Saw that.
So that's
First
impressive.
time a woman's ever had the pole at at Daytona or NASCAR and
You know, I'm not even looking at that, but there's a first time for everything.
right.
But the new cars have a couple features that stand out. What really got me was they're 160 pounds lighter than what they used to be.
160 pounds lighter.
Lighter.
Well, you know, when you showed me the pictures, they look like they're shorter.
They do look a little bit shorter.
So is that where they took the weight? They kind of shrunk it
I
down
don't
a bit?
really know where they took the weight out of on this one, but they're trying to get back to a more stock car in its look. So the new look is going to look more like what they see on the showroom floors. It pretty much ends there. All the body panels, with the exception of the rear deck lid, which is carbon fiber, are now being made by the manufacturers. So all your Chevys are going to look the same. All your Toyotas are going to look the same. All your Fords are going to look the same. And Dodge has dropped out.
They dropped out.
They're dropped out. There's only 3 types of cars this year: a Ford, a Chevy, and a Toyota.
So why Dodge drop out?
There was a sponsoring situation there. They couldn't get enough people to stay on with them when one of their other, I think it was, I want to say Penske Racing, dropped them. And at that point, they just kind of gave up the goat on this one. So, you know, it's their choice. I don't know if it's going to work out for them, but the cars are very similar. But the manufacturers of the individual lines are going to be making all the body panels for it now. So there is no more individuality as far as drivers of the same type of car. All those Chevys are going to look the same, and all the body panels are made by Chevy. All the body panels are going to be made for the Fords by Ford. So you're going to see a Chevy SS out there, you're going to see the Ford Fusion out there, and you'll see the Toyota Camrys. And they don't look that much different from the side. Very subtle differences in the cars. But from the front, of course, as soon as you look at that, you know, you see your Chevy, you see your Toyota, you see your Ford. So it's going to be interesting. The cars are lighter. They've changed some of the decals and displays on the cars, like where you're going to put your sponsor logos. The driver's information is going to be across the top of the windshield now. Driver information? Like his name. Oh, a signature kind of thing? Yeah, that's across the top of the windshield, the upper part of the windshield. There'll be one sponsor on the roof of the car. Now, they took away... Now, when you say one sponsor, you're talking about like one main sponsor? It said one... When I was reading, it said one sponsor on the roof of the car. Not one main sponsor. It said one sponsor on the roof of the car. So it changes things a little bit. Do the cars still have multiple sponsors? From what I'm reading, yes. I know, like, here, let's... Yeah, this is a race cafe, so it's always good to have. It's like all these, they're sponsors, but they're contingency. They sponsor the series. Right. And then you got Good Wrench, and I think, well and you see on the trunk lid, he's got a different sponsor. Right. Well, here's something else. Now, we'll show the fans out here. Of course, he's got to have Senior's car. The 3 on the top, that won't be up there anymore. Right. It's not going to be the driver's number. That's going to be the a sponsor up top. Yeah, I got a funny feeling that number on top, that's going to wind up coming back. Well, you know what? There's look at all the aerial shots they do. That, I think, is part of why they're going to have the sponsor on the top, to try and get those main sponsors. So it wasn't good enough on the hood? Apparently not. Huh. And, you know, this is the car, this is the, I think this is a Chevy Lumina, was what he drove that year. This is from 91? In that era. Okay. That was a generation... 3? Yeah, I think that's Generation 3. 4 was something different. And I actually went online and started looking it up and found something called the 6 Generations of Speed.
Okay.
And it gave you a list of all the cars from back in 1939. You know, and that era.
Mm-hmm.
They showed you a Hudson Hornet. They showed you a convertible. I somehow missed the fact that they ever had convertibles.
Yeah, one year they did.
Yeah, I can see why that didn't last.
Yeah, I hear you there. Yeah.
But that was
one rollover. And,
yeah, that'd be that. And the thing is,
ugly.
they had a better roll cage on those cars, and it still only lasted the 1 year. That was something I was reading in there. But over the years, they showed you some of the different cars, some iconic cars from those years, like that 1970 Dodge Daytona.
Right. That's. Like
You have one of those over here? Well, I'll be a monkey's uncle.
Actually, I have 2. The number 40, and I have Richard Petty's number 43.
Of course, here at the Race Cafe, he would have these. Yeah, and those were considered the Generation 2 era.
That was Generation 2?
Yeah, because you had the up through 48 to 60 something, and then you had from 66. Then from 67 to 80 was Generation 2. 81 to 91 was Generation 3.
Okay.
The next one was from 92 through 05.
Let's see. Last year,
And then
this is the Generation 6 this year.
this is up through 91.
Okay.
That was Generation 3. Don't remember exactly what the specs are. Generation 4 is 92 to 2006. Because in 2007 they had the Car of Tomorrow. That's the Gen 5.
7 and 8.
And 9 and 10. They had that's the one they go on.
4 years of it?
That's they called the Car of Tomorrow. They went with 4 years on that.
I didn't realize it was for 4 years.
Neither did I until I looked this up. And then of course now
actually, you know what? Now that I'm thinking of it, I think it was actually 3 years. And that first year, they kind of had, I think they had like 6 races with the new generation car, the Car of Tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
That first year, I think they only did 6 races trying it out.
Okay.
And then the following year, it was a full season.
Okay.
And then a couple years after that, they went back to the spoiler, because that new generation one had the I don't know what kind. That's more like your
That's one of the
sports
cars. That's not the
Car of Tomorrow.
That's the Car of Tomorrow. So here, okay. Now we're doing this. We got of course, that one. There's 3. That's actually so 2, 3. Here's 5.
Right.
Do you have a Generation 4?
This would
of
be.
Course,
what
that
would that be? That would be 2.
That's still in the 2. So yes, here you got it. I'll take some of these out, but yeah, that's the 2. Can I get this in there? I'm gonna put it on top just to it makes me pull up.
Just sit it in front, like in between.
Okay, that'll work. But yeah, there it is. Those 2.
Now, what are we looking for?
Well, you're gonna look for something. Well, let's see. When did we lose Senior? We lost him in 2001. So 81 and 91 was 3. So he was part of the reason why they had the other. So
let's see. What do I have in here?
Well, wait. What's this? Here's the number 8. This is gonna be what? Here it is.
Okay.
Go, brother. The number 8.
That was pretty much the same as that year.
No, because that was the final part of that one. This looks like it's going to be a little bit different. And it is slightly different. So that's going to be in your Generation 4 series right there.
Well, I think that was Illumina and that was a Monte Carlo.
Right.
And then what would these have been? 1?
That would be back in the Gen 1, yes. These are, what's this one here? This is a
57, I
yeah,
think?
this
57
is,
Chevy?
Yeah, these are, this is like a 56. 57 had the bigger fins.
Right, so that would be this one here.
Yeah, that would be more 52. So,
and would you believe they even raced the station wagon?
Yes. That was on the picture as well.
Take the family to the track. But now in those days, a lot of these drivers, they'd drive the car to the racetrack.
But there it is. That's why they were a stock car.
Right.
And then when they went to the next generations, they were now a modified stock car. You know, this had a modified frame and chassis.
Right.
Is what they could do on these. And each year it's gotten a little bit different. Because there's a Gen 3, here's a Gen 4, and of course there's the Gen 5. And now the new Gen 6 is what they're racing Saturday or Sunday.
Right.
probably Saturday too. But new cars on that, they have a different roll cage to make it a little more.
Now they moved the
sound
driver even more to the middle, because I know last year they moved them what, like 6 inches, 8 inches further
It didn't
over?
say everything I was reading, so they probably left the same. Remember last year they put in the fuel injected.
Right. That's not working out too well.
I'm not really fond of the fuel injection, and of course for me it's like, okay, so now we're putting everything more faith into a computer. Well, what's the sense in doing that? You either drive or you don't. You have the guys that know how to tweak things. Junior is actually having problems right now with the car. He was one of the big proponents of this new Gen 6 car.
He was what?
And he's one of the proponents. He was actually pushing this new car because it was putting more into the driver's skill on these cars. And yeah, it's a lighter car. So it is going to require more skill out of the driver.
Now, you told me earlier something about 160 lighter.
Yeah.
And that what did you say, 100 on one
side and 60 on the other, yeah.
I thought these cars were so well balanced. How does that?
Well, I think it's 100 pounds off of the side where the
passenger side.
I think it's the driver has 100 off,
okay,
and the other side has 60 off, because then it would set, the driver is actually going to physically put weight in there. But I could have it backwards. It's one of those things. I was reading it. I was still flabbergasted by 160 pounds. My God, that's a couple of Backstreet Boys.
Yeah. Now they're still putting out, like, what was it, 800 horsepower?
850 horsepower.
So they made it lighter and went up with the horsepower.
Yes.
Wow.
These are now going faster. They made it lighter. There's more downforce to keep them on the track. But that's where they're having a problem. When you go drafting. What happens when you're drafting?
The way it used to do, they suck right up to them and pull the car behind them, and it worked better for both of them.
What's the physics behind that? Do you understand that part?
Yeah, the first car cuts the air out of the way, and the second car has pretty much no resistance.
Right. Well, that's not a problem.
So when they're doing that, when they draft like that, supposedly, from what I understand, they actually can go faster as 2 or 3 than if it's just one out there.
Right. That's not working out now. The lighter cars, that's causing a problem. They're getting loose. They're losing their position. They had that practice race is what I'm going to call it, but
what, the Sprint Unlimited?
That's it, the Sprint Unlimited. They just had that.
They used to call that the Bud Shootout.
Okay,
I like that name.
Okay, well, the old Bud Shootout, now Sprint Unlimited. It was only people that had hit the pole or won a race or something like that. It was a 30 lap, 20 lap, 25 lap in sections. We took bets on when it was going to have the first wreck. We do that every race, because let's face it, what's a race if it doesn't have a wreck?
Yeah, why watch it if they're not going to wreck, right?
I not only called it, but called it right on the nose. I said lap 15, and that's where it happened. 7-car wreck on lap 15. So it definitely.
Look what's here. I went ahead and ordered you the special. I didn't think you'd mind.
No, I'm not going to mind at all. It's food at this point, so.
Right.
Not to mention, if I've got food in my mouth, I gotta shut up for a little while.
Yeah. Excuse me, ma'am. We got any ketchup and mayonnaise?
See, she was already on to you on that. It was on its way.
Gotcha. Oh, just pick it up. You guys all right with it? You done with it? Yeah? Okay, thanks. Little mayo and ketchup for you?
You know damn well I don't put mayonnaise on my hamburgers.
No? You do mustard, don't you?
I'll do mustard.
We got some Grey Poupon.
Don't.
I didn't say poop on, I said poop on.
Why don't we take a little break? Didn't you go to see Bob White again?
Bob Hope.
Bob Hope.
You're thinking of my street, Bob White.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I went to see him Saturday, and pretty good time, a lot of good music, and a bunch of girls up there dancing together. A girl gets up there, starts dancing by herself. All these girls go up and start dancing with her. I try to go up and dance with her, and I get slapped upside the head. What's up with that? But do we want to show some of that, or do I put this thing together, a tribute for Earnhardt?
He was only kidding about the Grey Poupon, dear.
Oh, I got it.
Thank you.
But I'm sure you've heard the song "The Last Ride" from Tony Martin.
I'm drawn to. I've heard of it.
I was on my way to Daytona. Wait a minute.
I have a better idea.
Get him in the air.
Why don't you play that and we'll get some food.
All right, we'll run the Earnhardt tribute, shall we call it?
I guess that would be, yeah. Because
it's not really a memorial, but it's a tribute. God, 12 years he's been gone.
Yeah.
It don't seem like it.
It's one of those things. When you think Dale Earnhardt Sr., what track do you think of?
Me personally, it was always kind of Talladega because he had so many wins there.
Yeah, but what was his Achilles heel?
Daytona.
And what took him from us?
Yeah, Daytona.
So a lot of people are going to think Daytona. Talladega was a great track for him, but Daytona, the speedway, was the one that was always getting him.
Yeah,
and,
it's a shame.
And it's not like it's been friendly to Junior either.
Right. That was the first year, 2001, where I really got heavy duty with NASCAR.
Mm-hmm.
And I never actually met him, but when he was pulling out,
mm-hmm.
there he was right in front of me. Well, he wasn't even pulling out. He was sitting there waiting to pull out.
Uh-huh.
And I managed to get a good shot of him. And but I never actually met him because that was the last weekend that he was around. But I've got to hang with Junior. I've got to hang with Harvick. I've got to hang with a lot of them, and just I wished I'd have had the chance to meet him. Because how often do you get to meet an icon?
I was fortunate enough to meet Petty,
Richard,
the King,
right,
at the now called the Coke Zero 400, the Firecracker 400.
Okay, the July race.
Yes, the July 4th race. I saw him at the 400, and I had a moment to shake hands with him and say hello. My boy Jimmy Mack, he was up there. He was the one that got pictures of because I could take pictures, but Jimmy Mack sometimes fails miserably.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah,
I met Richard
you get those icons
years ago, and I actually got to meet both of them, and Richard and Kyle at the same time, and hang out with them for a little while. I guess it must have been 2005 or 2006. We were there, and they had, I don't remember his name that was racing it, but they had a 43 ARCA car that was a Petty car. And both the Petties were over there, and I was probably 30 feet away from them, and I looked at my wife and said, "Hey, check it out. It's Richard Petty." He heard me. He looked at us without hesitation, walked up to us, gave my wife a big hug, and shook my hand. And
you were in your glory.
Oh, yeah. The Petties are awesome when it comes to fans. They will not turn a fan away no matter what.
It's because with fans, it's made racing.
Yeah.
And they know it.
And yeah, exactly. They know it, they appreciate it, and they know that's what keeps racing going. You start dissing your fans and they don't come to the racetracks. Hey.
All of a sudden, you just cost yourself money.
That's it, But yeah, it was awesome meeting him. And like I said, I've got to hang out and party with a lot of them. 2006, when they inducted Dale to the Hall of Fame.
Right.
I got to meet Junior in the library at the Hall of Fame and got to spend about an hour with him and just talk to him. And I had met him before at different tracks, but he's always been very standoffish. One time, I believe it was Atlanta, he'd come out where all the other drivers are coming out. He'd come out a little gate down the way, sprinted through the crowd, hurdled the pit wall to get on pit road so nobody would bother him. Which I understand before the race. You don't want to be bothered. And so at first, I didn't care for Junior that much. And when we were there at Talladega at the Hall of Fame, I asked him, I said, Junior, I got a question for you. I don't mean to sound disrespectful or rude or anything, but why are you always such a butthead at the track? And he looked at me and goes, "No disrespect. He says, I understand the question." He says, "And truthfully, I'm afraid of the people."
Huh?
And I'm like, "Afraid of the people?" He goes, "Yeah, everywhere I go, they want to rip off my clothes or tear my hair. They want something. They always want something." And it changed my whole opinion on it,
Yeah.
Because now I was like, I can understand that. Because, like one year I saw him in Charlotte, and as soon as he come out of his hauler, I bet you there's 100 people around with hats, shirts, this and that. "Hey, can I have your autograph? Can I, So, yeah, I understand it, and I really hope he does well this year.
He's not doing well right now. He's hating that car.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
I was talking to my buddy Walt. He's a mechanic.
Right.
And one of the things he was noticing is these are not fuel injected.
Right. A lot of issues with that, aren't they?
And he said to me, he says, okay, where is the fuel injection? Where is that mounted?
Normally on top of the motor,
on top, right? Yeah. He goes, and how hot are these getting? I said, well, they're not cold engines. They're getting warm.
Yeah.
And he goes, and what happens when that heat comes up? And it dawned on me, it's evaporating the fuel.
Inside the lines?
If it gets hot enough, and his engine, if he's overheating even the slightest bit, will cause a reaction in the gasoline. And let's face it, race fuel is not your 87 octane.
No, it's like, what, 100 and stuff. Yeah.
It's up there. So I'm sure he made it very clear to me. He's like, that type of things can happen. And I'm going, I wonder if somebody overlooked that when they were designing this bad boy.
Maybe, but you know what they'll probably do now? They'll probably wind up coming up with some kind of fuel cooler. Because, I mean, they have a transmission cooler.
Right.
They got the oil cooler.
Right.
So why not a fuel cooler?
Makes perfect sense.
But
I'm just sitting there going, great, that's all I need to have is my gas evaporating before it gets into the chamber.
Yeah, I hear you.
And again, can I go back to carbureted engines? At least I can work on that sucker. There's no other brain trying to tell me how to run my fuel.
Yeah, and again, with the computers and the fuel injection, the brain takes care of most of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the carbureted cars, if there was an issue with weather, it was when they practice it was cold, but now they're racing, it's hot, they can adjust the fuel.
Right.
Can they do that now?
You can to a certain extent, because again, this is a computer you can reprogram.
Mm-hmm.
You can reprogram it, and the chipsets can be changed to a certain degree, but you've taken that away from your mechanics to have that last minute adjustment.
They've taken a lot away from the mechanics this year. I mean, they used to have the body fabrication shop where they made all their own fenders.
I think that was part of it. It was more of a constraint to try and limit the
variations.
That's not the word I want to use. I think they were doing that to try and keep things a little more fair. Because now everything that comes from the manufacturer is not only coming from the manufacturer who makes the part, but they're individually stamped and marked.
Now let me ask you, was that something that the manufacturer pushed?
It wouldn't surprise me.
Because I mean, looking at them pictures you showed me, they look a lot more like the cars on the street.
And that was the intent.
So I'm thinking maybe that was the manufacturer saying, hey, look, if we're going to keep doing this and putting all this money in it, we want them to look more like stock cars.
It's possible. Again, this was called stock car racing.
Yeah.
It certainly didn't look stock anymore.
Right.
So, but
well,
again...
from what I understand, for the longest time, the only thing that really was stock on the car was the rear trunk lid.
Yeah. So, well, now that's about the only thing that won't be stock every time. That's the one thing they don't make is that rear deck lid. But...
It may look spoilers. They got spoilers like the older ones, right? Not the fin.
I didn't look at that one. I believe it's like these.
Right.
I'll have to double check.
Because I know when they put that fin, nobody liked it.
Well, it's not like you can't go to NASCAR.com and it shows you. You can drag the mouse and make the car spin. You can see a 360 view of the cars.
Cool.
And like I said, there's only 3 now to look at.
Right.
A Chevy SS, a Ford Fusion, and a Toyota Camry. So there's not too much difference.
Can't believe Dodge isn't in it.
Hey, things happen.
That's the second time they've left.
Something tells me they'll be back again. It's just finding somebody to take the initiative to go with them.
Right.
And 1 year away, they're testing these things out. While everybody else is running, Dodge can actually sit back and go, okay, this is what we like, what we don't like. But let's face facts. The only thing that's stock about a current stock car is going to be those outside body panels and the look there. Because once you get under the hood, you tell me what car off the showroom floor has 850 horsepower kicking out that one.
Not any American cars, I know.
850 horsepower.
Yeah. That's a lot.
Well, we're talking enough. Let's get back to our food. Let's put up that video.
Okay, here let's take a look at the few years of Dale Earnhardt.
Well, I was going to Daytona. I had my race gear in my pack. when a stranger pulled up beside me in a stock car colored black. He was dressed like a NASCAR driver, a mustache with mirrored eyes. He said, "It's a long walk to Florida, would you like a ride, son?" Well, I crawled across the roll cage. Then he fired that Chevy up, and the patch on his sleeve said the man had won 7 Winston Cups. His eyes was intimidating as hell as we roared into the night, and I knew there was something strange about this ride. He said, "Boy, can you make fans stand and scream your name? Have you hit them in the ass, never let off the gas till you rode into victory lane?" He said, "Boy, do you know how it feels when you're running 3 wide? 'Cause if you're Daytona bound, let me wonder you're in for a ride." Then he cried when we got to Daytona as we pulled out on the track. He said, "This is where you get out, boy, 'cause number 3 ain't coming back." And as I climbed out of the race car, I said, "Thanks, I'll catch you later." He said, "You'll pay hell catching me, son, 'cause I'm the Intimidator." He said, "Boy, can you make fans stand and scream your name? Have you hit them in the ass, never let off the gas till you rode into victory lane?" He said, "Boy, do you know how it feels when you're running 3 wide? 'Cause if you're Daytona bound, let me warn you, you're in for a ride." He said, "Boy, can you make fans stand and scream your name? Have you hit them in the ass, never let off the gas till you rode into victory lane?" He said, "Boy, do you know how it feels when you're running 3 wide? 'Cause if you're Daytona bound, let me warn you, you're in for a ride. If you're Daytona bound, let me warn you, you're in for a ride." The last ride.
So, that was pretty good. What'd you think of the cucumber set? I don't guess you liked it a whole lot.
It kind of lacked a little bit of taste, but
Did it? I probably didn't put enough vinegar in it.
what, they let you back there to work this today?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Well, you know,
I've been poisoned!
I asked him about, a few things, and they had had my cucumber salad before, and they had a bunch of cucumbers in they got a deal on. I said, "Well, why don't you make some cucumber salad?" They're like, "How?" I said, "Here." I showed them. And, I'm not at home, so I didn't have all my normal spices and stuff that I would normally use.
Uh-huh.
I usually throw some Cajun in, some hot sauce, and all
And
that.
next, Sparky's Wild Side from the hospital as we're getting my stomach pumped. Thank you very much.
Right? So I heard something that, Danica,
Yeah?
her boyfriend races cars too.
Yeah, the boyfriend races cars. I thought that was amazing. They were making a big deal out of that.
Now, does he race NASCAR?
Yeah, unless I read it wrong, yeah.
So they're both going to be in the same race?
Yeah.
Boy, he better hope he don't wreck her.
Well, I look at it this way. If she cuts him off, he's just going to have to take it. Otherwise, he's really going to be cut off.
Yeah. Now, who is her boyfriend?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I pay attention to my drivers, the ones that I actually look for.
Uh-huh.
Danica is one I pay attention to because
She's a girl.
it's Danica.
Right.
Do you really think I care who's dating her? It's not me. So it don't really matter who's dating her. That's like the singer Faith Hill. I don't know what her husband is. It's not me, so I don't care.
Okay, alright.
Do you guys need anything else?
The stack of 20s about shoulder high?
Yeah, I need that too, but yeah.
No, I think we're
No,
good.
that was good. What, you want this stuff?
Here, now make sure to, here, have back the Grey Poop.
Grey Poop on?
I did not use that. I'm sorry, hon. He's just messing with you again.
And, that was nasty.
That was not my fault.
Okay.
I blame the chef.
The chef?
Yeah, that's always who you find.
Okay.
So
you go tell the chef you ain't getting no tip because he screwed up, okay?
Remember something, the waitress's job is to make sure that the food comes out once it's ready and they keep the drinks full. That's her responsibility.
Okay.
Outside that, she don't have much control. It's that chef being an idiot.
We have some kinky liquor if you want it.
We're not going there. Anyway.
So who's your pick for the 500?
To win it?
Yeah.
With these new cars, I'm afraid to even render a guess.
Okay, who would you hope would win?
Hoping is for Junior to win it. Realistically, with her winning the poll, I think Patrick has a legit shot at getting it.
You really think so?
She has a shot.
42 guys and her. Look what happened to Shauna at the Daytona 500.
I'm looking at the fact
What does she get? Not the pole. The pole is on the left.
Yeah.
She got the right lane in the
Okay.
lead. Okay, she had made a comment about, I don't need friends out there. I got the best team, the best car, and the best owner. As soon as the green flag dropped,
They wrecked it.
everybody went this way, and she went all the way to the back.
Well, you know, it's one of those things. That's always going to be a situation. Like I said, barring something like that where the rest of the field team's against her, I think she has a shot. She proved that with the best time. These newer cars, I'm throwing all possibilities in there because I don't know.
Right.
You can't know right now.
Now, who's her owner? Is it Stuart Haas? Is she racing for them, or is she racing for Junior? I know one year she was racing for JR.
Junior. I have to go back and look.
Okay.
Because again, looking with the new cars and with things that change periodically, I'm not sure. I know that I would like to see Junior win it.
Mm-hmm.
Again, he's the driver I've gone with for quite a while now.
Right.
You always root for your driver. At the same point, I'm also hoping that Jeff Gordon ends up somewhere upside down, going backwards, sliding into pit row, so that he doesn't even come back out again. Because I can't stand Jeff Gordon.
Why?
I didn't like him before. Then when he became the same team as Junior on Hendrick Motorsports.
Or you mean Junior came onto their team?
Well, they're on the same team.
Right.
When he came, I actually went and I shook his hand. That was at that Firecracker 400, the Coke Zero 400 that year.
Okay.
And as his teammate, I expected him to help Junior, and he didn't. He helped another driver off a completely different team. And if there was any sliver of liking Jeff Gordon before that, it died right there and then.
Right.
If he comes in dead last, does not finish every race of the season, I'm going to start dancing. That's how much I cannot stand him.
Okay.
I would wreck him in the first 2 seconds if I could.
Now, he's a little guy.
Yeah, he's a midget.
Yeah, I mean, because I'd say the comparison between me and him would be like the comparison between me and you.
That's about right, yes. I wonder if Jimmy Mack has that picture still when I was going to shake his hand. Because he does look like a midget. It's comparing Andre to Hogan
Right.
when you look at that picture.
It's
comparing me to
amazing,
him.
you know.
And he has that look of fear on his face. Jimmy took the picture as I'm putting my hand out to shake his hands with him. And just that look in his face is, oh my God, Godzilla.
I caught him in Daytona 2005, I think it was, maybe 4. And he was heading out to driver compound, leaving the garage area. And you know, when he's anywhere, he's always got a crowd around him.
He didn't that day I got him, but yeah.
He didn't that day I did either. I walked up to him, I'm like, excuse me, Jeff, can I get an autograph? He took one look at me, grabbed my hat, and kept going. And you know what the funny thing is? The hat I was wearing?
It wasn't his car, if memory serves me. It was a different brand.
It was a Ford racing hat. He autographed it. That was funny. And then people, you know, when I showed them that, they're like, no, that's not his. Yeah, it is. Well, he's not allowed to sign them. I'm like, what do you mean?
You'd be amazed at what you decide to do when you're scared out of your shorts.
Yeah, and you know, I'm kind of got that ugly biker kind of look.
Yeah.
And I you know, he doesn't have a problem telling other people no, but he took a look at me and figured, he looked around, nobody around him, he probably figured he better.
And you know, that's the funny thing is, I've gotten used to the fact being on wrestlers that my size isn't all that big. And then you go about normal people, and I'm realizing I am that big.
Right. Well, it's like, you see these race car drivers on TV.
They're big as life on TV.
Yeah, there's no, not comparison, but there's nothing
It's
to
just,
really...
you can't make the proportional, the relative on that one. You just said something, the size, when you see them on TV, and it brought one of the changes in the cars. The driver's weight, there's a minimum weight, according to NASCAR.com, has been reduced from 200 to 180. And I'm going...
Whoa, wait a minute. A minimum weight?
That's what it said on NASCAR.com. If you go under there, the
you sure it wasn't maximum?
It said minimum. I looked 3 times to make sure that thing said minimum.
I don't think any of them weigh 100. Well, Jimmy Spencer did, but...
But that's the whole thing. How does Danica Patrick weigh 180? If she's 180, that's the hottest 180 I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, I think Gordon's 120 soaking wet.
Probably. I'm wondering if maybe it's 180...
kilos?
Well, that would make it more weight.
Would it?
Yeah, because if you're looking at it, 20 kilos is 44 pounds. So that would have to be more on that. There's got to be something. Okay. Maybe with all the gear on, they hit that 180 possible. Mark. But I'm going,
because I know
in the hell?
You got your helmet. I mean, that leathers or that burn suit, that's pretty heavy. That's got to weigh, what, 10, 15 pounds?
I don't know, but I'm sitting there going, you must be putting a lot on to get something as small as Danica Patrick up to 180.
All right.
Because I met her one time. She's not a big girl. She's a tiny thing.
Yeah. Wow, 180?
And you were giving me crap about my weight getting into a car.
Jeez. 180?
They dropped it from 200 as the minimum to a minimum of 180.
Wow.
So theoretically...
It's got to be with their full uniform.
So theoretically, you have now taken 180 pounds off these cars, and you beefed up the engines to 850 horsepower. Is there any wonder these cars get out of control?
Right.
The drivers definitely have more work to do. It's definitely on the drivers this year, with these cars pretty much being the same, and not a lot of wiggle room for any of them.
Right.
I can't think that deck lid, that carbon fiber deck lid, is going to make that much of a difference for these cars, because that's where they had their they can tinker, because that's the part that the manufacturer's not making. So that's their wiggle room right there. I can't think you're going to make that much difference with that carbon fiber deck lid.
Right.
But I could be wrong.
So who won the Unlimited?
I can't remember who won it.
Was it Brad
I don't think it was Keselowski.
No?
No, it wasn't Keselowski. Because he won last year. Yeah, he won last year's the Cup overall. So it wasn't him. And darn it, if you'd asked me Monday, I'd have known it. But today I don't. What's on my brain today is that ugly belt that the WWE just unveiled. So my brain kind of got fried.
Ugly belt?
You haven't seen the new WWE belt?
No, I was going to go down to Wing House with my buddy and watch it. But I had to take my daughter to the hospital that night.
She couldn't take your cucumber salad either, huh?
No, it wasn't a cucumber salad. No, she was having some chest pains and a hard time breathing. And so I figured it'd be best to take her down there. What a bunch of idiots.
That's why they call it practicing medicine.
Yeah. So
she was their test dummy for the day, huh?
I guess we sat there for over 3 hours. Once we got in there, they come up with a stethoscope, listen to her chest, listen to her back, come back a few minutes later with a few prescriptions and sent us home. Now, I went in there one time because Austin and I were fooling around in the pool, and I pulled a muscle right in here.
Right on the
and
skirt.
It wasn't getting better. It was starting to hurt really bad.
Yeah.
So I went down and told him, that I'm having chest pains right here, what had happened. Next thing I know, I'm upstairs in the cardiac unit, wired up to all these machines.
See, I told you that the gray beard doesn't always help.
Yeah. I mean, they kept me there for 5 days and finally said, "You're all right, go home."
They could have told me that 4 days ago.
They never even once addressed the issue I went in there for. You know, it's like, oh, geez, doctors.
That's why you don't have any hair anymore. You're torn it all out.
Oh, I'm telling you. So they changed the belt, huh?
Yeah, they changed the belt. I was on Facebook during that. I had actually said I was hoping they were going to bring back the Brahma Bull belt for the meantime.
The Rock's belt?
The Rock's belt,
okay,
yeah. Now, back in the day, Stone Cold had his Smoking Skull.
Yeah, that was badass.
And The Rock had a belt made up off the same plates as the Smoking Skull. If you look at the design of that belt, it's the Smoking Skull belt that's been modified.
Okay.
And it has the bull with the horns and the one eyebrow raised. And it's like,
now, you don't have either one of those belts, do you?
I sold off my Smoking Skull to one of the other wrestlers.
Did you? Okay.
He wanted it bad enough, and I was like, well, I don't really have the love of that belt like I do some of my other ones.
Right.
So I sold it off and, gave him a deal on that one. And that was fine, but The Rock had one made, and it never got unveiled.
No.
If I put it up on my Facebook page, so if you go to my Facebook page, you'll see that one. And it was the Brahma Bull belt. I figured, well, it was time for the spinner to be retired.
Right. I never did like the spinner.
It was a change from what was before. I didn't really particularly like the Undisputed title. I didn't really like the spinner, but the spinner was different. And it had a novelty to it. And then, of course, went to the rated R spinner, and then back to the regular spinner.
Rated R?
When Edge had the belt, he was the rated R superstar.
Oh, okay, right.
They changed the center, and it was a giant red R. But changed the belt again. It was time. I'm not arguing that. The spinner was not one of my favorites either, but it had its niche.
Right.
What they unveiled last night broke my heart, because I figured for sure that they were going to have the Brahma Bull belt up through Mania or to whenever The Rock lost the title, and then when that happened, they'd come out with their new WWE Heavyweight Championship.
Right.
And they had plenty of time. I mean, let's face it. From the point of The Rock getting at that last one, the Elimination Chamber, or not the Elimination Chamber, but the one before, and through Elimination Chamber, so you have it up until Mania. You had 2 months to plan a belt, and then they had talked about changing it beforehand, even when CM Punk got the belt. So this is not a new change, but I was very disappointed. Even with the side plates being what they are, where The Rock had Brahma Bulls on the side plates, and if you go to WWE.com or WrestlingSuperstore.com, they had that belt there that you can buy the replica. And the replica just has the regular WWE logo.
Okay.
But the center plate, which is the main plate, is a large plate. It looks like a modified home plate. You know how you have
baseball
baseball home plate. It has a diamond there, and it's a slight diamond deal. It comes up. It kind of rounds. It's octagon at the top, and then it comes across the top. It's the WWE logo, and underneath it says champion. It's kind of angled as well to go along with the lines of the belt. But behind the WWE logo, that double W,
right?
There's nothing. All you're seeing is the black of the leather belt.
Huh.
And I looked at that and I'm going, that's pathetic. If you'd have at least had the silver in there, a polished silver, to go along with the gold belt,
right?
Two-tone, stands out, makes it look like something. I was really disappointed when I saw this belt. I looked at that and I'm like, my 3-year-old nephew could design a better belt than that. And I was really, like I said, disappointed. And I wasn't the only one. A lot of people were going, what is that? One guy posted, yeah, everybody's looking at this, and then all of a sudden, oh, facepalm. and my reaction wasn't facepalm. I was banging my head against the wall at this point. How can you do that? I really didn't like that belt.
How long do you think it'll last?
Well, they've committed to it. They've put the money into it. They've designed this. The advertisements for the replica were within 10 seconds of it being unveiled.
And how much for a replica?
I was looking at 400 something for the.
400?
Up over 4 yards.
Wow.
Some of the better ones are 5 to 7 millimeters thick, which is thicker than your normal belt's going to be. But this just really lost the classic look of a belt. It doesn't match the big gold, which is what Alberto Del Rio is running with now.
Mm-hmm.
That was the old WCW belt. That belt stands out. The old NWA 10 pounds of gold was one, and then they went to the WWE went away from that when they went on their own.
Mm-hmm.
And they've gone through several variations. I mean, you've seen the Hogan 86.
Right.
They made the longer one for Andre, the Andre 87. Then they came out with the Wing Eagle. Then the Attitude Era Eagle. You had the Smoking Skull. You had the Undisputed. And, of course, then they brought out the Big Gold. Gave it to Triple H when they made that the Raw belt. That's kind of switched to SmackDown. But the Big Gold looks like a championship belt. You're impressed by it.
Right.
This didn't impress me. This looks...
Now, when you say the Big Gold, you have one of those, don't you?
Yes, I do.
And that's the one that's autographed by Undertaker and Hogan?
No, that's the Winged Eagle that I have that's autographed by Hogan and Taker.
Okay.
My Big Gold, the WWE version Big Gold is autographed by Batista.
Okay.
The WCW NWA Big Gold is signed by Ricky Steamboat, Kevin Nash, and Hulk Hogan.
Okay.
So it's one of those things. That belt kind of stands out,
mm-hmm.
and this new one doesn't. It just doesn't match.
Right.
I mean, people are going to sit there and go, "Well, I like this. You know, this is the new style and all that." But at the same point, it doesn't command the respect that a Big Gold does. The Winged Eagle commanded respect. The Attitude Eagle had that respect to it.
Right.
This one just doesn't. I mean, the independent circuit, you know how they use the belts. AESW had used that premier version of the independent world title.
Uh-huh.
And that really looked good, I thought. It was not real gaudy. It's kind of plain, but still
stand out.
Impressive.
Right.
This just doesn't have that feel to it. It's like, oh, yeah. Bling, bling.
Right. So now explain something to me. The Rock is the champion.
Rock's the current champ, yes.
Okay, and Del Rio?
Uh-huh.
What is he?
He is the world heavyweight champion.
So that's like Rock's number 1 and Del Rio's number 2?
That's not the way they have it now.
I don't understand how that works.
Well, if you follow wrestling through that time period when WWE bought out WCW, you would see a little more of the change to understand it better. WCW was one company. WWE was the other. They were always head-to-head. There was the Monday Night Wars. You had their champion, and you had the WWE champion. Eventually, WCW was bought out.
Okay.
So now you've got 2 champions, 2 belts. There's always going to be a conflict. So now it's even more, you get the champion versus champion deal. That's when they unified the belt. And the guy that did that was Chris Jericho. He weaseled his way through and had both titles.
Uh-huh.
And that's when they came up with that unified title.
Okay.
And
they don't have that anymore.
No. Because at one point, Brock Lesnar signed a contract that he would only defend that belt on SmackDown, which left Raw without a champion.
Okay.
And they had to do something. They had the Big Gold as a belt. They brought the Big Gold out and made the Raw champion the World Heavyweight Champion.
Okay.
And the SmackDown champion was the WWE champion. And they've never unified them again. Okay. Neither one is more prestigious than the other in their eyes.
Now, do both belts stay in there, like with does the one belt stay with SmackDown?
Usually they keep it that way. They don't usually change the belt for too much unless you have something happen in the draft where one champion goes from one show to the other.
Okay, now, there's another belt too, isn't there?
Not of the heavyweight titles anymore. Now you go to your mid-card titles. That's your U.S. Championship and your Intercontinental Championship.
Okay. So they're number 2s.
They're the number 2s. It was always in the old days when they looked at the ranking, your Intercontinental Champion was always the number 1 contender to the World Champion. And the same thing with in the old NWA and WCW. The U.S. Champion was always the contender to the World Champion.
Okay. Now, in wrestling,
Mm-hmm.
how do I want to put this? Okay, you have the world heavyweight champion.
Mm-hmm.
The little guy.
Which one? Sin Cara or Rey Mysterio?
Mysterio.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't he the heavyweight champion at
Yep.
one time? So they're not regulated by weight then, are they?
No, they're not.
Okay, whereas boxing, you have to box a certain...
Well, remember something, in boxing, you can always go up for the other weight class, and you can be a little light and still go into the higher class.
Uh-huh.
But you can't be heavier and come down.
Okay.
The same thing in wrestling. You could always have lighter guys that could go up. There was at one point the light heavyweight championship.
Uh-huh.
Or the cruiserweight championship.
Okay.
And that was for the lighter guys because you really didn't want to have a match of Rey Mysterio versus The Undertaker or Rey Mysterio versus The Big Show. It was one of those, you look at that and go, yeah, right. You know, Big Show's 7'4" or 7 foot something, and here's Rey Mysterio who's, what, 4'11"?
Yeah, something like that.
So it's like, he's going to squash the poor guy.
Yeah.
All he has to do is fall.
Fall on him, right, yeah.
Let's face it, when you had Hogan versus Andre for the heavyweight title, Hogan looked tiny compared to Andre.
Right.
And Hogan was over 200 pounds or 300 pounds. It was 300, what is it, 303 or something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
So he wasn't light.
No, he's not a little guy.
But, you know, compared to Andre, he was a midget.
Yeah. Or anybody compared to Andre was a midget. Well, except maybe Big Show.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
So,
Kevin Nash, well...
Even Kevin Nash, compared to next to Big Show, looks a little tiny.
Right.
And Nash is another one that has that huge noggin. I just makes me look like a child, so I'm just like, wow.
Big bell to ring, huh?
Yeah. More surface area to hit the bell. But
So, you know, now that we brought up some small wrestlers, I got a message from Johnny G today.
Uh-oh, what's his micro championship?
Well, it doesn't look like they're going to be able to make it for the Relay for Life. He's hoping that him, Jersey Jess, and Huggy will be able to come out and do a guest appearance kind of thing.
That would be cool.
But it all depends on what happens after April 16th.
Well, that's still in time. I mean, our Relay for Life is at 5A High School, and it's going to be on April 26th, right?
Right. And, you know, he said he could let me know something then if, you know, things work out, that he is trying to find some other bookings down here. But the ones that he had thought he had arranged fell through. And on the weekend of the 16th, they are doing some shows in, I think he said Louisiana and Alabama.
Okay.
And he said that, you know, the Florida group should be back that weekend, and if they don't line something else up before that, they'd be really happy to come out to the show and help out.
It's a great charity to help out. I mean, Relay for Life is an anti-cancer deal. I can't say anything bad about them.
Right.
I mean, I remember Relay for Life back when I was still working at Largo High School back in the 90s. And they had done one of these at Largo using the track and the football field.
Right.
Lights on all night. Here you have people walking that track all night long.
Yeah.
So you got to keep these people awake somehow. And what's the best way to keep them awake? Keep them entertained.
Exactly.
But it's a good reason to come out. It's a good thing to support.
So I was told I can't be loud after midnight.
Define loud.
That's what I said. And they basically said no electric. No, you know. And, you know, so what I figured, okay, I'm going to be like that. We'll just do an acoustic jam.
Attaboy.
After midnight. All night long, baby. And you know what?
Hang out.
Florida's Action Radio Network has donated a small guitar
Uh-oh.
to be raffled off.
You know how to open that case?
I don't know. I think you just rip it. I mean, it's, you know, not the greatest of... It's not like it's a Les Paul or...
Is it 5 or 6 string?
That's 6
It's
string.
okay.
You know, and... Well, see, it makes noise.
So somebody gets to start and learn on that.
Exactly. And, you know, being that it is a high school, I'm figuring there's going to be a lot of kids there. The high school itself, I think, has 4 teams that are involved. And what I was going to do, all the entertainers, everybody, you know, the wrestlers and everything like that, have them all autograph it.
Okay, are we bringing silver Sharpies or the black Sharpies?
Both.
Okay.
You know? Because I think the black would show up better, but maybe on the back, And the sides, the silver might look a little better.
Maybe. You know, silver Sharpies were always hard to get.
Really?
Yeah, I go into stores. They seem to be very limited. I honestly believe that they're illegal in 48 states and possibly Puerto Rico, because that's how hard it is to find these sometimes.
Really?
Going to wrestling, you have the belts. What color is the belt?
Black.
So black Sharpie ain't gonna do it. You gotta have the silver Sharpie.
Right. It's like when I was with NASCAR. You know, I used to get tires all the time off the cars.
Yeah.
And you can't autograph it with a black magic
No,
marker.
you can't.
Yeah, so yeah.
I see all the
We
other
always had
colors.
silver ones.
You always have. You can always find the black. You can find those silver ones. Always seem to be absent from the store.
Right.
And Jimmy Mack and I would go hunting. We'd go in. We'd see they had them. We'd buy 4 packs of them.
I don't blame you.
It's like, okay, we got them. It's like, why are you buying this? Because I think they're illegal in 48 states and Puerto Rico. And you'd see a cashier just completely lose it at that point. But it was a running joke, and it was real hard to find.
Yeah.
I got to ask the Sons of Samoa when I see them up at either in Mineola for WXW or possibly down at that one in Palmetto. They're in Puerto Rico all the time. I'll have to ask them if they are illegal down there, because I can't seem to find them.
So, but we've had several bands that have confirmed.
Cool.
We had several bands that a month ago confirmed and just let me know they're not going to make it.
Ah.
Ask me why.
I'm afraid to. Why?
You know what else is going on that day?
No.
The 98 Rock Fest. We are competing with them, and it was like Sideshow. He was going to come DJ for us, and I guess he forgot, and he had already bought his tickets to Rock Fest when I contacted him last week, and it's like, there goes my DJ. And
we have the other DJ contacts for you. I just like
Right.
going to the Sideshow first.
But yeah, we
He's
know
one of
him.
ours.
He's a good guy.
His birthday was this week.
Yeah, that's right. Today, isn't it, or yesterday? So the day before yesterday.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then
I wish we could still do live, but you'd have to have that phone off the hook. I had somebody call me yesterday and complain that we couldn't call in anymore
really,
because he wanted to call in during the Mandrake show.
gee, he doesn't have the initials of TC, does he?
Oh, how'd you know Chaos was the one complaining? That was right before I found out that he's asked somebody to give me chops.
Really?
I'm going, yeah, you had somebody else to give me chops because you ain't got the brass to go ahead and do them yourself.
Well, no, he's afraid you're gonna chop him back.
He's already felt me chopping back. He ducked his birthday chops one year.
Ah.
And at that point, you know what happens when somebody tries ducking the birthday chops?
They get twice as many?
Not only do you get twice as many, people hunt you down.
Really?
He was hiding in one room, and this room had 2 doors. He was holding the one door, making sure nobody got in, and one of the other guys came behind him and right on his back.
Wow.
All of a sudden, he let go of that door he was holding, and all of a sudden he's like, and got chopped across the chest.
So, have I just been lucky, or is it because I'm a photographer that I've never had the privilege?
It's probably a mixture of both.
Okay.
The first
And I'm an old man. They're probably afraid they'll kill me or something.
The first year that I was running the promotion, my birthday came and nobody tried anything. And I kind of wondered why. I was like, well, maybe I haven't earned my place with them. And the second year, everybody was gunning for me. I found out that first year, they were a little apprehensive, a little nervous of doing the chops on me. They didn't know how I was going to react to it. And some of these guys, guys like Biff or Maximo, Frankie Chiazzo, they don't care, about my size because they're equal in size.
Right.
A big Vito isn't going to care one bit about my being big. But you take somebody like a Wayne Van Dyke or a Mike Cruz or a Gus Money, and they're going, I don't know if I want to chop him. You get maniacs like Damian Angel, who really doesn't care whether you're 4'11" or 8 foot tall. He's still going to chop you the same.
Right.
But that was one of those. They were a little apprehensive that first year.
See, I thought it may have been because one time I got in a discussion with one of them, and I think they were hitting on one of my daughters or something, and we had a heated discussion. And
really, I wonder why.
And they wanted to play their shit, and I told them, I said, listen here, I never learned how to play fight. We learned to kill people. And none of them ever messed with me after that. They're like, oh, wait a minute, this guy's kind of nutso, you know?
Yeah, this guy might be taking you just a little too far. And the thing is that's also one of the things. When it's your flesh and blood, you get a little more antsy. When it's your daughter, you get real antsy.
Especially when she was only 14 at the time. I mean, she may have been 6 foot and, 140 pounds.
At the time, that was... But somebody like Josh Rain, who was still under 18 when he first was starting to wrestling, that wouldn't have mattered. She'd have been right in his age group.
True. I don't remember who it was. It was a larger, older one, though.
Then it wasn't Epic.
I'm almost thinking it was Simon. But I can't remember. That was like 4 years ago.
Well, Simon, I sometimes think he's mentally 12. I love the guy to death, but there are times I'm looking at him going, are you 12?
All right.
And I love John to death, but whew.
Right.
But he's a good guy, so.
So, but anyway, like I was saying, Relay for Life.
I'm looking forward to that. April 26th.
Yes. And like I said, we've had several Bobs. We've had several bands say they're coming on.
What? You were telling me the other day, what happened to Floydsome?
One of the guys, from what I understand, doesn't feel he's in the clique. So he's leaving. And then another one of them is leaving because of health issues. So, it's kind of rough when you have 2 band members leaving at the same time. So they're going to regroup and try to put it all back together again, but they said they didn't think they would have it by then. But they are going to come out. Jim is going to come out, and Terry's going to come out with all their lights and lasers.
Oh!
And Terry might DJ for us, being that...
Okay, so we'll just play a little Floyd in the background and have the laser lights going.
Or maybe one of the other bands. I've talked to Livewire. That's another band that does the same kind of music, and they do a little bit of Pink Floyd. And they said they'd be more than happy to come out. Red X, you remember Red X? Spanky?
Yes.
How can you forget Spanky, huh? Yeah. She's even hotter than Danica. And you don't have to go 200 miles an hour to catch her. But she is attached to Bob, their lead guitarist, which is an old friend of mine. But they're going to come out.
Very cool.
And do you remember Nigel Lee?
Harmonica from the
Jackson 5 Talent Show.
The Black Student Union.
He's going to be out.
Very cool. You guys, if you don't get a chance to see this, you're really missing out, because he's one. Well, you had as part of that show for the Black Student Union.
Yeah.
You did throw him on there after terrifying me on your way down driving. Bring that up. I need to apologize to you. As bad as I thought your driving may have been that night, I found someone that makes you look like, well, probably a driving instructor.
Okay, who is this? Someone I know?
No.
Did you ride with him?
Yes, I rode.
For how long?
Too long. You know the Puerto Rican hound dog?
Yes, I know of him. I don't.
Okay. He is going to open up a wrestling school here in Pasco County.
Cool.
We went down to pick up the ring. He asked for some help. Having the experience with the ring, he said, hey, will you please come down and take a look at that to make sure I'm not making a mistake.
Right.
And the ring is a used ring, but it's still in very good shape.
How big?
16-footer.
Okay.
It was one of those, I'm like, this is good. He's
kind of
got
like ASWs?
Very much like ASWs, but has a little more support on the sides, a better ring in general. Took a couple bumps on it. I got dropped just to test it, and I expected the wind to be completely knocked out of me, and it wasn't, and I was beside the rope, so it's a good learning experience.
Cool.
So, people that are, if you can't take this ring, you have absolutely no business in wrestling. But we had to go down and get this.
Now, did you rent a truck, or
we rented a U-Haul.
Okay. And he was worse than me in a
U-Haul?
U-Haul?
No, it wasn't Hound Dog. It was one of his relatives that was driving. And of course, you've got, being the Italian in this mess, I was like, oh, this ought to be fun. I've got 2 Hispanics and 1 Italian. So, oh, great, we got 2 Spics and a Dago. And I'm the poor Dago in the middle. And I'm like, all right, fine. Well, this joker is driving, and thank God it was an empty truck. because I thought he was trying to draft the cars in front of us.
Well, it's safer that way.
Not when you're driving a U-Haul to a car.
Sure it is.
No, it's not.
Sure it is.
How you figure that?
Well, it's safer for the guy in the car. Okay? Here, let's use these. If you're that far away and this guy hits the brakes, he's not going to slow down that much to do that much damage. But if you're that far away and this guy slows down and he's not paying attention...
Okay, but when you're in the line, you've got that many cars, you stop sudden...
And you're going to have a lot of fun.
Yeah, okay. So you don't follow, especially when you see a line like that, you don't follow extra close. You ease off the gas and you give some...
No. You do. I don't.
Yeah, well, you're a maniac in itself. Anyway, this Joker's driving like that, and it was one of those, on too many occasions, I'm looking at this going, I'm going to die. I thought it was bad with you, and compared to him, you're a saint. It was...
So when are we going to Tampa again?
After that ride, I can drive with you any day of the week and not even feel bad. That really, truly was a harrowing experience. I did not ride with them on the way back. Hound Dog and I switched, and I rode in the other car, and he rode with this Joker, and found out midway that he was losing his temper with the driver anyway. It's like, all right, that's it. I've got this ring in here, and you're not going to destroy my new ring. Stop that.
Right.
So, it was an interesting. I had to apologize to you, and I wanted these people to see the apology because. Well, they saw how I was critiquing you when you were driving. They need to be public on that one because this guy made you look like a saint.
I would never figure. I mean, I'm not that crazy.
I would sooner drive with a brand new student that just got their permit to learn than ride with this Joker again.
Really?
Yeah. I couldn't find a brake on my side. I was looking for the brake, the steering wheel, the clutch, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, couldn't slow it down, huh?
There were times I was closing my eyes just going, all right, this way if I at least am in the accident, I don't see it coming, it just happens and I'm better off.
Right. So now would you say he was careless or reckless?
He went to reckless. It wasn't careless. He was reckless.
Now define my driving.
By comparison, safe. If you saw that episode, you understand that I was not fond of Sparky's driving. Yet, compared to this Joker, Sparky is a safe driver and the epitome of a driving expert. It really was that bad.
Might have to rent a few U-Hauls and have a race with them.
As long as I don't have to be on that road anywhere, I'm fine with it.
You don't even want to ride with me for the race?
I don't even want to be part of that when you're racing.
No?
I'll take a tower and a radio and tell you, okay, you got 4 car lengths on your right, go for it. Because that's how you drive. You look for the opening. You're trying to figure out on Daytona or out of Talladega or one of those.
It's just, down here you got so many people that want to get in that left lane when it's 55-mile-an-hour lane and do 40.
Yeah, well.
And that's just aggravating. If you want to go slow, that's fine. But get in the right lane. Don't hold me up.
Well.
And like I say, I still wish it was legal to bump draft people.
Yeah, I wish it was legal to mount paintball guns in the car, but...
Yeah, you were saying that day.
But actually, right now I'm working on a motorcycle. I got an old Honda Goldwing.
How's that coming along?
I've got it stripped down to where I need to. It's the engine's a little locked up, so I've got to take the engine apart and put that back together. But
can't be unlocked without doing it.
There's other things wrong with it, so it's better to just take the whole engine apart, clean it, redo it, put it back together, new seals, the whole 9 yards. We're gonna run new wires on it, just to make it a little.
Now, how old is it?
It's an '85.
Wow, are you even gonna be able to get parts?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, some of the parts that I got very upset when I looked at the price of them because for all the other Hondas, it was like maybe $15 for that ignition switch, and for the Goldwing it was $27. I'm going, wait a minute, and it's the same.
Is it?
It's almost identical. It's just a little bit longer on the Goldwing one, and I'm going.
Now, is that
That's
kind of
not
like
good.
one of them deals with, like, say, Cadillac and Oldsmobile? At a time, they both had the same windshield that would work in either. But if you bought a Cadillac windshield, it was $400. If you bought an Oldsmobile windshield, it was $120.
Now you're catching on. Yeah, the Goldwing is their class of the bike, and they made it a little more expensive. And I'm just going to probably avoid.
Put a toggle switch in.
I was thinking about that.
Right.
I don't need genuine Honda parts. I want a working part.
Right.
For all I care, I put an automobile ignition in there and make it run. Because all it is turning a key to send power through the system.
Right.
So.
Now, your Goldwing, is it a 4-pin or 6-pin?
6.
Oh, it is a 6-pin.
Yeah.
Okay. What, 1200?
1100.
1100.
Yeah.
What are they now? I think weren't they like 1600?
18 was the last time I saw.
Wow.
And it's a heavy bike.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I laughed because I had an old Honda Rebel, and I had to lay it down one time. And
now, for somebody like you, that Honda Rebel, you pick that thing up, throw it over your shoulder.
I literally did yank it up with one hand. I ain't yanking up this Goldwing with one hand, baby. That's a heavy bike.
I had a KZ 1000.
Good bike.
Dry weight, 411 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Horsepower, 96. Yeah, had a lot of fun on that bike.
Sorry, my brain's still processing the 850 horsepower in these new cars.
Gee, could you imagine? You've seen some of these V8 bikes, right?
Oh yeah, the Boss Hogs.
Yeah. Well, no, the Boss Hog is the big block.
Right.
V8, and then they've got the small block V8s that they call something else. But could you imagine putting one of them NASCAR motors in that?
Walt, I know you're watching. Shut up, we ain't doing it.
You'd have to put a wheelie bar on it.
Yeah, I've seen bikes with a wheelie bar.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've seen it. And it's like, it's like I saw one Harley, they had like a 5-foot long wheelie bar behind it.
Well, that's part of what when I looked at this Goldwing, the engine spot on that, I'm like, it looks like a small car engine. Mm-hmm. It's a 4-cylinder engine. I'm sitting there going, playing with the plugs, there's 4 plugs, and this is a car engine.
Yeah. Well, look at the Volkswagens back in the day. What were they? They were only like 800 cc,
mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah, it amazes me. But then again, there's enough room on that you could put probably a small car engine on this.
Right.
And I'm going, well, that could be one way of going.
The
engine really pisses me off. I'm just going to get a crate motor and put it in.
Right. I saw a guy one time with one of those V8 bikes come off 52 here.
Ooh. Or
come off of my street onto 52. And he cracked that throttle. Man, I thought he was going down. Because that back tire lit up and that thing was all over the place. But he saved it.
Yeah, God bless him.
And I was at a bike show one time. In fact, it was the same guy. And I was checking the bike out. So, yeah, you want to take it for a spin? Go ahead. And if I'd been wearing shoes instead of flip-flops,
mm-hmm.
I probably would have.
Okay.
But, wearing flip-flops, no, I'm not going to do something like that. Yeah, that's a big, heavy bike. That motor alone's got to weigh, what, 800 pounds?
Wouldn't surprise me.
So, but anyway, let's get back to some music. And one of the other bands that has confirmed coming, Bob Hope.
Really?
As we were talking about earlier in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's coming out. He's going to have to play in the afternoon early because he's got a gig that night. And he's got to be at the Anchorage at 9 o'clock.
Okay.
So, he said he could play until about 8:30. So I figured I'll do something with him between about 7 and 8. That gives him a little extra time to get there.
Right.
And, well, he's awesome. And he was at the Overtime on 52. Over by where the Wonder Bread store used to be.
Is it called Overtime?
I'm pretty sure it is.
I'll have to look on it next time I head home. So.
But he was playing there and pretty good music. So
You're saying it's pretty good. Let's give him a sample.
Yeah, let's put a few songs up there and let's check it out. And we'll be back in a minute.
I'm not one to make promises. No, Shake a little something. She was born like a beauty queen from a movie scene. She said, don't mind, do you mean I am the one? Dance around. But you didn't have to cut me off. Nigga, like it never happened if we were nothing. Like I see I need to love. Treat me like a stranger and it feels so rough. No, you didn't have to stoop so low. How did friends can let you records in the change in the blood? Like I see I need to know. Now you're just somebody that I used to know. 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 Now you're just somebody that I used to know. 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 Now you're just somebody that I used to know.
So, what do y'all think of Bob Hope? You know you want to come out and see him.
Well,
Don't you?
if nothing else, they ought to come out and support the Relay for Life.
Exactly.
You're not going to sit there and tell me that you have never been touched by cancer. Not that you've had it, but you don't know somebody that's had it. And if you know somebody that's had cancer, you've seen them go through that, you know how miserable experience that is. Now, my aunt had it. One of my exes, her aunt, died from it.
Right, my mom's going through it right now.
Yeah, so you're another one's been touched by
Yeah,
it.
she's doing her chemo and she's trying some new treatment. It's a test and I don't know what all is involved in that.
Now, the cancer itself is a miserable experience. Then you look at kids like that kid Nathan, young kid with it that just
14 years old.
And it's not like he just got it. He's had it for a while.
Yeah,
so.
and, I mean, he's been, I'm thinking for some reason, like 14 surgeries.
Yeah, so cancer's a miserable experience.
Yeah.
So.
But, yeah, well, I was there Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
Bob was playing, and there was a guy there, it was his birthday.
Right.
And he had requested a song.
Is this the one you were telling me about that he asked you not to?
Yeah, because he said he hadn't played it in like years and years, and you know he thought for sure he was going to pretty much so butcher it up.
Well, he didn't.
So he's like, "Hey, do me a favor, don't record this one." I'm like, "Okay, cool. I'll go get a drink." So I sit down at my table. No sooner I get my drink, they're playing, and these two gorgeous girls get up there and start dancing.
That was the end of the not recording.
Yeah, so, you know, I didn't so much record the song, but I had to record this dancing. And then after it was all up, I went up on stage and said, "Hey, Bob, sorry, I just had to." But check these girls out. They're hot.
Yeah.
Yes, very hot. So here we go.
Wanna be someone who believes, yeah, yeah. Mr. Jones and me staring at the video. None of us is looking at me, smiling in the bright lights, darling through his stereo. Where everybody loves you, you can never be the only one. I will paint my picture, paint myself into a red light. All of the beautiful colors are very, very meaningful. Do you know the gray is my favorite color? I felt so symbolic yesterday. If I knew how so, I would paint myself a bright guitar. Mr. Jones and me look into the future. Yeah, we stare at the beautiful women. She's looking at you. I don't think so. She's looking at me, smiling in the spotlight. Bought myself a pretty guitar. Oh, and everybody loves me. You will never be lonely. Never be lonely. Your life never gonna be lonely. Wanna be alive. Yeah, everybody wanna pass as cats. We all wanna be big, big stars. Yeah, but we got different reasons for that. Believe in me, 'cause I don't believe in anything. And I wanna be someone who believes. Tell believe, yeah. Mr. Jones and me, stumbling through the corridor. Yeah, we stare at the beautiful women. She's perfect for you. There's got to be somebody for you. I wanna be Bob Dylan. Mr. Jones, we should be with someone just a little more someday when everybody loves you. Boston, somebody won't be you and me. Mr. Jones and me, staring at the video. When I look at the television, I wanna see me. Get right back at me. We all wanna be big, big stars, but we don't know why, don't know how. But when everybody loves me, I'm gonna be just about as happy as I can be. Mr. Jones and me, we're gonna be big stars.
So what do you think about them girls?
You needed to video it. It was an absolute necessity.
I'm
You needed
telling
to video
you.
it.
You know, any man would think so. But yeah, I got the one girl's Facebook and all, and we got to talking, and she was hot. Hopefully after she sees the video, we'll still be friends. She asked me, was there anything bad in there? And I'm like, define bad. And then my sister came up, and she said, no, you were cute.
You're
So,
safe.
Yeah.
It's
But hopefully I'll bump
nice to
into
have
her
it when
again.
family members like that kind of go to bat for you. Even if it wasn't they lied for you, it always helps.
Right? But yeah, maybe they'll show up for the relay.
I'm just hoping this is a good event. It's the right reasons, good event. Want to have as many people come out there in support of it. So
Right? And I'm pretty psyched. First time, you know. Hopefully I do good this time, and maybe they'll invite me back next year.
how can they not? Right now you're just getting your feet wet and you're going to do fine. When they add more to it, give you another shot, you know what you're doing.
Right?
You'll try and get somebody like John Cena or Hulk Hogan in there next time you do something like that.
That would be sweet. That would definitely be sweet.
Again, for the right reasons.
You know, we still need to go down to Clearwater and check out Hogan's store. It'd be nice if we go down there one day and he was actually there.
Yeah, I can just see it's going to break everybody's heart, right?
Huh?
That'll just break everybody's heart, right?
You never know. But so what's going on with TNA?
In what respect?
Well, what is that? Aces and Eights?
Aces and Eights.
Turns out a friend of mine is a member of the Aces and Eights.
You talk about Young Wes?
Yeah.
Yeah, one of our boys that made it.
Yeah.
And whether you like it or you don't like it, he was given the opportunity and he's running with it.
Yeah.
He's in the show.
Yeah.
So.
And I had heard him make a comment to Hogan that the reason he joined Aces and Eights was because of Hogan. He said for 2 years he'd been calling Hogan and Hogan would never return his calls. So he decided that I guess Ace and Eights gave him an opportunity and he jumped on it.
Well,
And in the business, you get any opportunity, you got to take it.
that's the idea. If people say, well, they're lucky. Okay, they're lucky. I'll run with that. What's the definition of luck? I was always taught luck is the union of opportunity and preparation.
Okay.
So the harder you work, the luckier you're going to get.
All right, I'll go with that.
And, you know, Wes is one of those guys that worked hard. The opportunity came. He was prepared to take it, and he's taking it.
Now, did it help that he's second generation?
I'm sure it didn't hurt.
Right.
He had to learn something from the previous generation. So it's not a bad thing. I mean, look at Chavo Guerrero. He's a third generation. Look at, what do they call it now? Michael McGillicuddy.
I don't know.
He was part of that Nexus deal
Okay.
for a while. But he's a third generation, you know, Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig.
Okay.
It was his father. The grandfather is Larry the Axe Hennig from the old
Okay.
AWA days. He learned from them.
Wow.
Going through. So, you know, he picked up something. You'll look at Bo Dallas. You know, the new guy in WWE, he's having a problem with Wade Barrett or vice versa. Young kid, won that spot in the Royal Rumble, long dark hair. Wears a black glove when he goes down to the ring.
Does he? I think
You
I
know,
have to pay more attention.
You remember who used to wear the black glove before?
Oh God. That was isn't he the one that did the claw or something?
Well, now you're thinking that would have been Von Erich. No, he didn't do
no,
that.
it wasn't him.
No, Barry Windham.
Okay.
Barry Windham is his uncle.
Oh, okay.
And that Barry Windham is his uncle, that means his grandfather is Blackjack Mulligan.
Okay.
Which again, the black glove, the Blackjacks.
Okay.
So he pays homage to the previous generations. He's another third generation wrestler.
Cool.
These guys that are in there and have learned from it. And for us here in the Florida area, we saw Bo quite a bit over at the FCW, now the NXT, when he was going through training.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you saw him in the beginnings when he first came in, but you'd be amazed at how much weight he dropped going into that training. I mean, they worked him like a dog. We knew that. Guys like Steamboat are hardcore, and they want you to do the exercises and be physically fit. Steamboat was never heavy when he was wrestling.
No.
He always looked fit and trim. So he's going to be hard on these guys, and it's worked out for Bo. So I really hope he makes this worthwhile, because he's got the pedigree to run with it.
Right.
As long as he doesn't make something stupid, he's got the opportunity. He's worked hard.
Right.
So I wish him luck.
I hear you there. Anybody, we know it's.
Yeah, and again, these guys that are.
You know who else is back in the ring?
Probably overlooking it. Who do you think?
Nick. No, not Nick. Jesse.
Sorensen.
Jesse Sorensen.
His neck's finally healed.
I guess 2 weeks ago we were watching TNA, and there he was over. Where were they? Was it Japan? They were.
I thought they were in England.
Yeah, that's right, England. Yeah. And he was back in the ring. That was good to see.
I must have missed that match somehow.
It was I saw that. I was like, wow, he's back. And because he took a hard hit. And hit like that, those are career enders.
Do you ever watch Ring of Honor
No.
on Saturday nights? I mean, here in Florida, you see Saturday nights on the My TV. It's like channel 15 on the cable.
Right. No, most Saturday nights I'm somewhere recording.
Right. Well, you DVR the bad boy. But Ring of Honor is where Nigel Wolfe from TNA, he's gone there. He's now, he got hurt, can't wrestle anymore. He's become their general manager. Other people over there is Maria Kanellis. Maria from WWE for so long.
Okay.
One of the other guys that's there, Jay Lethal. And he's making a run at their heavyweight title over there.
At Ring of Honor?
Yeah.
Huh.
So, you get wrestling quite a few days during the week. You got Monday night, you got Raw. Tuesday's kind of an off night. Wednesday, you'll get the main event on Ion Television.
Okay.
Thursday is TNA.
Right.
Friday is SmackDown. Saturday is Ring of Honor. So you got Sunday and Tuesday are the 2 days you don't get it. And of course, Sunday is when they're throwing the pay-per-views out there. So.
Right. And now that NASCAR is up.
My Sunday's already taken up by something else then. NASCAR.
I hear you there.
Well, I was always taught 2 things the rednecks love: wrestling and racing.
So, but anyway,
I'm still depressed that Danica Patrick thinks she's dating somebody else that ain't me.
Right.
I'm bummed out of that.
We got to find out who, because I'm going to watch that. I'm going to see if he cuts her off, because I know if he cuts her off.
He's getting cut off.
And I'd much rather lose the race than lose that,
It's all about priorities.
Yes. Well, Daytona 500, that's pretty big on the priority list.
Yeah. Make a name for yourself.
Look at Dale Earnhardt. What was it, 19 times before he finally won the 500?
Yeah, it was such a big thing. He finally won it.
And when he did, every pit member, crew member, everything was on that pit road to high-five him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was incredible.
That was his Achilles heel.
Yep.
So he got his one win there, and I guess God needed the Intimidator more than we did.
I guess so. It's a shame because, like I said before, in that race, Tony Stewart at the beginning had a wreck, and I think that car went head over heels, like 3 times? And he gets up and walks away. The wreck that Earnhardt had didn't look like it was much of anything.
No.
But yet, he died. I guess when your number's up, your number's up.
Literally.
I just hope I ain't in the same elevator when the guy next to me's number is up.
I want to go like my grandfather, peacefully in my sleep. Not like the other people in this car screaming. No, actually, that is the way most people want to go out that I've talked to.
In their sleep?
Go to sleep and just not wake up.
Yeah.
And that's a good way to go. That is how my grandfather went. He was in his easy chair. He took his afternoon nap and just never woke up from it. So.
Now, did he have any issues?
No.
No health problems?
No real health problems. He had ulcers at one point, but that's not.
No, that's not really life-threatening.
And my other grandfather died of a complete accident. He tripped and fell across the glass door track. That single bar raised glass door track. Ruptured his spleen.
Wow.
He went in, wasn't feeling right. He went to lay down, and couldn't get up. They had to help him up. They put him in the ambulance. He was dead before he hit the hospital.
Wow.
he went fairly peacefully. The only thing he knew was like, I don't feel right,
Right.
and then gone. So, they're pleasant
Hey,
ways
you're
to
gonna have
go.
me going to the doctor now every time I don't feel right, and that's every day, brother. I never feel right anymore.
It's funny. I spoke to my father before he went out to Arizona, and he was giving me this. He's obviously feeling his mortality. He's telling me, this is probably the last time I see you. I'm like, what do you mean the last time I see you? You're going to be going out to Arizona. Like, I can't hop a flight and go out and visit you.
Right.
I mean, he's close enough to Vegas, I can just take a flight to Vegas and drive a little bit down to see him.
Right.
And he's like, well, I don't know how much longer I got. I'm like, you're too ornery to die. And the devil sure as sin doesn't want you coming. He's afraid you'll take over. God probably won't have you. So you're going to be around for a while.
Yeah, right. Well,
at least he was laughing by the time I finished that little spiel.
Right.
But, it's one of those things. When your time's up, your time's up. And, we always, salute at the end when you give our glasses, Chentan, which is 100 years. That's what we look for. 100 years. Nice round number.
Right.
My grandmother made it. She had 103 before she went. Uncle Tony, her younger brother, he made it to 99, almost to the 100. I was like, it's close enough.
It's funny. You hear a lot of kids talking, oh yeah, I'll be lucky if I live to 30. Yeah, you know what, brother? I said the same thing 20 years ago, or 30 years ago. I passed 30, done past 40, done past 50. We're hoping for 60. But I can't guarantee that the way this government and world is going. I don't know if anybody's going to make it another 10 years.
Yeah, well, one of those things is one of the things they'll be taking from me when I do die. They'll be prying the gun out of my cold, dead hand.
I hear you there.
So I got real upset when I started seeing these gun law things. And
I hear you.
It's
like I said last week on the show, I'm gonna run for president, and I'm gonna go with my gun stand.
You can't do any worse than this guy in there now.
No. Truthfully, if I tell him I want to make it a law that every American citizen has a gun, how many people you gonna think gonna jump on my bandwagon?
Well, that really depends on the way things swing over the next few years. But here's the situation: if you are a law-abiding citizen, and the law says you're not supposed to have guns, that means you don't have a gun. But who does have the guns?
The criminals.
The criminals.
Exactly.
So why am I going to give the criminals an advantage?
Yeah.
I guarantee you, for a while I kind of avoided the gun thing because it's not that I couldn't shoot, it's just I didn't want to have to go to that extreme.
Mm-hmm.
But the last guy that I found breaking into my house, he almost got his head cracked open with a baseball bat. I happened to recognize him as a kid down the street.
Right.
And, it was one of those things, when you're almost making contact or pulling the bat back, if I'd have had the gun, there was no pulling it back.
Right.
Once you aim that gun,
you pull the trigger.
Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, gun control is hitting what you aim at.
Exactly.
So it's, and if I'm pointing a gun at you, I have every intent to kill you.
Right.
That's all there is to it. You don't point the gun unless you intend to use it. So, again, when were you taught about shooting?
God, I was just a little kid. I think the first time I ever shot a gun, I was like 8 years old.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
My dad had a .45 revolver. That Christmas, my dad had gotten my uncle an M1 carbine because he was getting ready to go to Vietnam.
Okay.
And we went out someplace and went shooting. And, every little boy, he wants to shoot the gun. So Dad puts the .45 in my hand. It was a revolver, not the automatic. And, showed me the whole thing. And then he squatted down behind me and he says, okay, squeeze the trigger. And I said,
right.
Blam! And I went flying back, but I loved it. It's like, can I do it again? Can I do it again?
Oh, of course.
And it's like Austin, my son. I went out and bought some of them Aerosoft
right.
BB gun kind of thing.
That's what I got started on.
Taught him on that, and
right.
he was like, I want to say maybe 6,
okay.
Maybe not even. He may have been only 5, but he did really good with that. First time, I told him how to sight in,
right,
and I said, okay, hit the target. You're aiming for the middle. He missed the bullseye by that much, and I'm like, okay, he's lucky. Do it again. Again, about that much.
No, he wasn't lucky.
And he's got an eye. So then, we started playing war games. We got protective face gear
right.
and stuff like that. And, man, How hard is it to hit somebody in the head when they're moving? It's a small target.
You're
right?
taking some work, yeah.
He can do it. He did it. And then another time, I knew where he was hiding, so I snuck up on him like, freeze, surrender. He says, no, blip, right between the eyes. It's like, you little prick.
Well, it's funny. I was taught with the BB guns.
Yeah, he's got.
And moved up from there. The old man was teaching us. Frighteningly, surprised a lot of people, firing a rifle as part of the Boy Scouts.
Yes. Yes, it is.
And it's one of those things like, okay, well, the Boy Scouts are teaching you. If they're teaching you how to shoot a gun in Boy Scouts, doesn't that tell you something?
Yeah.
And don't give me this crap, well, put down the Boy Scouts. No, they're teaching you part of survival.
Yeah. 6 years old is when a Cub Scout first gets to shoot a gun. It may only be a Browning pellet rifle, but you know what? I have one of them Browning pellet rifles.
Mm-hmm.
They are not a toy.
No!
They will do some serious damage. And that's what they use there. And, my opinion is they should be teaching gun safety in schools. That should be a required course. Just like swimming in Florida should be a required course in schools. How many kids in this state die from drowning because they don't know how to swim?
I'm afraid to ask. I mean, it's one of those things you can... Again, when we go back to how things started, everything was based on your survival in the wilderness. And as we became more civilized, we got away from some of the things that were common sense on survival.
Right.
And you're gonna have people argue this point
Forever.
But guns don't kill people.
No, it's the people that are holding.
Correct. Gun is just the tool being used. If I want to kill you, a gun is just one weapon that I have. I don't even need a gun. I can use my bare hands and kill.
And you know what else is? How about your car? How about all these drunks that go out and kill people?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hey folks, let's outlaw cars. They're killing people. That's what you're saying when you're saying take guns away from us.
Because it's easier to take away a gun than it is to teach somebody to operate it responsibly.
You think it's going to be easy to take away guns?
Well,
it's easy to say you want to.
Yeah,
but
again,
I truthfully think when they try to do it, look how many ex-military we have out there. You think they're going to give up guns? No, they fought for our Constitution and our rights. They ain't giving up. Is your dad going to give up his guns?
That's exactly what I was going to say. My father's not going to give up his gun. My brother is currently military. He's not going to give up his gun.
But your dad was a law enforcement officer.
That's right.
He's going to break the law?
He's not giving up that gun any sooner than I would.
Right.
We were all taught the same way, by the same man at that point.
And so when they do that, you know what's going to happen?
You're going to have a lot of lawbreakers.
We're going to be known as the nation of criminals.
Well, again, what kind of bothers me is you sit there and say, okay, take away the guns. And there are certain guns that I don't see any realistic purpose for having outside of military or law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
You know, who needs an assault rifle?
Depends on what you're going to assault. You're going to go hunt an elephant? Maybe an assault rifle will help you.
Dude, if you need the help of the assault rifle to take out the elephant, you shouldn't be hunting elephant.
Truthfully, the way the government is going, we may have to hunt them soon, and yeah, you might need one of those, and that's what they're afraid of.
Well, that is
that's
what they're
why
afraid
they
of.
Want them
that is what they're afraid
us.
of. How did the United States of America come about?
Because we got sick and tired of the bullshit over there, and we came over here for freedoms.
Well, that's how the colony was established. But again, the government was not doing what was right, and the people rebelled.
Right.
What did they rebel with? Well, everybody had guns at the time. So that's part of the concern that they have. They realize that they've pushed the limits too much. And they know that people in general are getting ticked off.
Yeah.
Well, one person being ticked off is not a threat. 100,000 is a severe threat. And 100,000 armed people terrifies.
Yes. Yeah.
But what is the president, what do these senators, what do these guys have protecting them?
The most
People with
sophisticated
guns.
weapons
So,
around. Yeah.
I saw something on Facebook. The school that President Obama's daughters are going to is protected by
Secret
individuals
Service.
that have guns.
Correct. But what about my kid? How come he's not protected by individuals with guns?
Because you don't have enough money.
Okay.
And that's the bottom line. It comes down to money. But they don't want people, the regular guy, to have a gun.
You know, another thing that I brought up last week. Okay, here they want to take guns away from us.
Yeah.
Here I feel we should be teaching our children gun safety and how to use them properly.
Yeah.
Because look what's happening over in the Middle East. There's 12-year-old kids with machine guns killing American soldiers.
Yeah.
You take the guns away from us, that opens the door for them to come over here. Terrorists, whoever, they're going to be armed.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can't protect ourselves, what's going to happen?
Well, and that's what it is. It comes down to protection. Like I said, some guns I don't see a purpose for. But I don't have any issue with the average American having a handgun. Personally, my brother was showing me his Glock the other day when he was visiting. Very light weapon except for the barrel area,
Mm-hmm.
the slide, because it felt like it was a carbon fiber or plastic. I mean,
Probably.
and it really impressed me of how lightweight the piece was. But you know, there it is. 15 in the clip. You're there. You're set. Personally, I don't think you need more than 6. If I can't hit you in 6 shots, you're damn good. Not to mention, after I fire that first 2, the odds are you're not going to be around to worry about.
Right.
You're out. If I haven't hit you, you're gone. Because you ain't giving me a chance to unload the rest of that revolver.
Right.
But here it is, you got the 15 of it. And I don't have a problem with that because he's military. But even though the average person, if they have that gun, are you going to go robbing that house?
No.
Knowing they've got that gun there, they
Exactly.
possibly blow your head off?
Exactly.
Forget it.
That's why I think it should be a law. Every household should have a gun.
But
even if it's just a 12-gauge
when our
gun.
founding fathers made this country, they put that in there because that was also part of the concern. That somebody would attack and they'd have to defend themselves. And because they were going to defend themselves, they had to have the tools to do so.
Yeah.
Well, how did we come that far away from what our founding fathers thought?
Greed and money and people that don't want to lose it.
You just hit on the second one. Money. Who has it? Who wants to control it? It comes down to money.
Yep, and it's like they say.
The person that the government fears the most is that
An
good
armed
old-fashioned
citizen.
country boy who's sitting on his farm, has the gun, has the rifle, and is just waiting for somebody to really piss him off in his own home.
Right.
Now, if you leave him alone, he doesn't even know who you are. But the moment you start bothering him, he's going to take action, and that's the worst person to have because he knows what to do.
Yeah.
He knows how to trap, he knows how to live off the land, and he knows how to kill because he's defending his property and his life.
Right.
That's the thing you're going to fear most. How many of us are willing to defend our lives?
I am.
We know you are. We know I am.
Yeah.
You know most of my family
And I
is.
mean, you know, look at some of this stuff that's happening. The theater incident, the school in Connecticut, where this guy goes in and just starts shooting. If there had been one armed person in that theater, I'll guarantee you not all them people would have been
here's
dead.
something else. How did he get all these guns? If there's all these checks and balances to keep him from getting a gun if he's not stable or shouldn't have these guns, how did he get them?
Right.
There's a breakdown in the system somewhere.
There's always a way if there's a will.
Yeah, we know that.
You know, and if you take guns away from the good citizens, the criminals will still have the will to go out there and find guns, and it just makes us more vulnerable.
And you know, the funny thing is, my father was a police officer for 22 years in Philadelphia. In all the stories that I heard, and I've heard some doozies where he had taken that nightstick and used it to full advantage.
Mm-hmm.
I only heard him about using the gun twice. He was one of you've heard the cops the old joke. Oh, well, that cop straps on his stones with his gun. Well, my father wasn't one of those, and I grew up around people who were like him. They didn't need the gun. You feared these people with nothing, let alone when you gave them the gun.
Also, back in that time, though, there was a lot more respect for law enforcement.
Well,
Whereas these days, I mean, even like back then, the mob, the mafia,
yeah.
they had respect for them. And I truthfully believe the law enforcement had respect for the mafia too. It was kind of a you stayed your ground. You didn't do stupid stuff like ride down the road and just start shooting at people's houses.
No, that's just, there's no excuse for that. These drive-by things are an insult to humanity.
You know, and that's what it is. And, you know, they think they're going to get rid of that by outlawing guns? No.
Not going to happen. Anyway.
All right.
When again? When's the Relay for Life?
Relay for Life, April 26th.
April 26th.
It's a Friday. It's at 5A High School in Hudson, Florida on 52.
5A. You know, think about it. Number 5 and an A. It's F-I-V-A-Y, but 5A.
Exactly, and we'll be there. I guess I'll be getting there about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and we should be there until about noon Saturday. So if you're bored, come on out. No, not even if you're bored. Just come on out.
Hey, throw a buck in there, try and get yourself a guitar.
Yeah.
I'll throw a buck in. Maybe I can relearn how to do that.
Right.
I started learning years ago and dropped it.
Yeah, I did when I was a kid, and it just never really... I was doing it because my favorite uncle played guitar, and I wanted to be just like him.
I don't know.
So, but I never made it. I can strum a note or two, that's about it.
No.
But anyway, we'll see you next week here on Sparky's Wild Side. And until then, remember, we will be here for the rest of your life.
I don't need a girl around me. I don't need no drugs to calm me. I have seen the writing on the wall. Don't think I need anything at all. Goodbye, cruel world. We're leaving here today. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Goodbye, all you people. There's nothing you can say to make me change my mind. Good night, everybody. Thank you for coming out. Get home safe.